So I'm here, I'm a stand for you having the tools that you need, for you having the explanations that you need, for you having the language that takes you deep into a conversation that needs to be had. We've all come here with a divine purpose, traveling on a stream of cosmic dust from the stars into our mother's wombs, born into this precious life. It is no accident that you are here, my love, on earth, in this moment, in this body. You are here longing to find your place, to align with your purpose, to embody your passions and to live into the dreams of your heart. Yet so often we get caught, suspended in the tangle of life, not able to move forward, not able to find solace and comfort in a world that has forgotten the truth of our existence. As we begin to remember, as we peel back the layers, as we come together to uncover our unique gifts and reconnect with our authentic selves, we are able to see another way of being, a new possibility, a different life waiting to be lived. I have experienced on this complicated and wild journey of life that when we connect with the story of our soul, it will show us the magic of this life that we have been missing. It will open a window into the very heart of who we truly are, of who we came here to be, and gives us answers to our ever-asking why. Hello, my beloved souls. Thanks for tuning in. Here we are, another episode. Gosh, the weeks are flying by, the months even, right? Here we are, already into spring, well into spring. And life is speeding up for sure. And what I feel really passionate about dropping in here today for us is a theme of empowerment and how in this healing world, we can sometimes get caught in this idea that there's something wrong with us, that we need to be fixed, that we are a problem that needs solving. And what I see out there oftentimes too with energy workers, healers, is this idea that we are sharing where we're saying someone's blocked. And maybe this has happened to you. Maybe it is not. Yet I really am in the place of whenever we are supporting another being, is that we come from a place of empowerment. Not what's wrong, not where your chakras are blocked, not where your intuition isn't working, not where your healing is so deep that you're a victim of your circumstances, right? These lenses that can sometimes be brought to a healing session. And I'm not dropping in here to shame anybody else or judge anybody for the work that they're doing. I really do believe that we're all showing up in the best capacity that we can with a pure heart to help each other, right? Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people are. So I'm not here to throw shade or shame at anybody. What I am here to do is say it's time that we take an empowered stance on the way that we language what is going on in our lives and the things that we're moving through. And so if anybody has ever told you that your chakras are blocked, right? That's what's wrong with you. You need to get your chakras moving. They're blocked. Well, I don't particularly like this kind of language, right? Because there is such a deeper conversation. There is such better language that we can use for these types of things, because what are you supposed to do with that? You're just left hanging, right? And I'm coming in here with this example because it is an example that has been coming up in my life, in my clients, where again and again and again, they are in situations where someone with good intentions is laying something on their altar, and yet it's a disempowering languaging that is happening, right? What do you think of when your third eye is blocked? It's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now? I can't see anything. I don't know what to do. How am I going to get that chakra unblocked? What's going on? And we can really fall into these places of feeling that we don't know how to care for ourselves. We don't know how to move ourselves through these things. It can also invalidate all the work we've done, right? Like, I know you listening are working on yourselves. You're working on your intuition. You're working on your soul purpose. You're working on your past lives. You're working on all the things, right? That's what we do here. We're devoted and dedicated and probably a little bit obsessed, if it's me, about our personal growth and our spiritual path. And in that place, what really motivates us, what really gets us through, what really gets us from being stuck is finding the place that we are empowered to tune into our own greatness, into the places inside ourselves that know, in the places inside ourselves that have the answers. And when we're given language that is very one-dimensional, we begin to be one-dimensional, right? And yet these things are so layered. They're so layered. There's so much more to them than just, oh, my sacral chakra is blocked, not spinning, not moving. It's like, well, okay, but should we look a little deeper? You have an entire energy body that is made up of multi-dimensional levels of architecture and infrastructure in an energetic realm. Your chakra is only one small part of that. And so if your chakra isn't moving, well, then let's zoom out and let's look at the larger picture. What's happening in the world right now that would create blockages in a sacral chakra and a third eye chakra? Quite a lot of things, right? A lot of things out there undermining our creativity and undermining our ability to connect into our intuition. Not to mention the fact that we're at war, just a small thing. Not to mention the fact that we are in some economic uncertainty and we are all waiting to see what happens with AI, right? So when we can zoom out and we can say, there's a whole lot going on here, it doesn't surprise me that my sacral chakra might be a little wonky and wobbly at the moment, right? Doesn't necessarily mean, though, that there's something directly wrong with you that now you don't know what to do. You don't know how to move through it. Now all the work you've done becomes invalidated and you start to second guess yourself and you start to wonder, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I've done all this work. What's wrong? And we get caught up in this place, right? So I really, really love to come from a place of what are the tools that you have? How are you moving through these spaces? How are you not needing to run to your energy worker every week to unblock your chakras, right? There's a different path forward. There's a place where you learn the tools, where you know how to get your chakra moving, where you know how to look at the landscape of the entire picture. And then you can use your tools and dig yourself out of whatever's happening and get energy moving again, right? Where you are empowered to make these changes and choices in your life, where you can look at your wounding and you can articulate for yourself what is happening and not get caught in someone else's language that just isn't enough, right? I think that is the crux of this, is that we are not expanding our language to meet our energetic needs. The wounds that we have right now in our energetic field, in our humanness, in our planet, and in nature, they are complex. They're not what they were 5,000 years ago. They're not even what they were 200 years ago. And so these wounds have become incredibly complex. And so we need systems and tools and language that does this justice, that gives us the ability to see it for what it is, and then we don't get caught in a shallow conversation about something that isn't even what's really happening. And then we find ourselves victimized and disempowered. So I'm here, I'm a stand for you having the tools that you need, for you having the explanations that you need, for you having the language that takes you deep into a conversation that needs to be had. If we are going to make it through these places and we are actually going to heal some of these incredibly complicated and complex wounds, we have to expand the capacity for what we're saying and for how we're approaching these wounds. We need depth. We need specificity. We need an overhaul. So this work we do is intended to help us see something deeper, right? To help us see through the illusions. Like when you're on this path, you're on this path and you know how it is, right? Nothing will get in your way. Nothing is going to stop you. Things might try, and yet here you are again and again and again showing up for this thing. And some of you are like spiraling in it, not in a bad way, but like you're looping. That's a better word. You're looping in it, right? You've done so much work, and yet you loop in some of these places, and it feels not great because you're trying so hard, and yet then it's like you can't get out of that place. Like you're just stuck spinning your wheels, and the mud is flying, and you can't get moving. And I get it, right? I stayed in those places for a long time thinking, oh, it's me. I got to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. But you know what? That's the old emotional model that says that there's something wrong with you. And if your outside world is not reflecting what you want, well, then you got to go back to your inside world again. And it's like, yes, there is a point where that is true. But then there comes a point when it's no longer the inside world, it's the outside world that's affecting us, right? The collective that we talk about a lot on this podcast. What is going on in the collective? If we don't think that we are not affected by the war that is happening and by all the things that are coming up in the news and all the people that are making choices that are not for the greater good of humanity, if we think that's not affecting us and we start to personalize it, my fear, my guilt, my shame, my uncertainty, ooh, that's a hard place to live, my love, because it's ours. And when we can see the complexity of how these wounds are put together, this is where our freedom lies. Right? So it's so much more than your chakra is blocked. It's like, oh, let's expand out and let's look at humanity and our planet. And then we can really get some traction. We can really start to make some changes in our lives, right? We can start really weeding through our codependent patterns, our people-pleasing, our anger that seemingly just arises out of nowhere, and then we take the blame for it. It's like, well, that's a little bit collective anger that you just got eaten by. So when we can not take everything so personally and recognize that we bring the meaning, and then there's a lot of meaning that the world is bringing, we can create a landscape that has a lot more texture, a lot more to move through. And we can just drop these shallow ways of looking at our wounds and just beating ourselves up again and again and again and weaponizing everything we've done against ourselves, right? It's such a vicious cycle. And I love you so much. And I know how it feels. And there's a way out and there's a way through. We just have to get better tools. And we get to stop using simple language for very highly complex situations. So, where are the places that you're looping? Where are you personalizing things? Where are you letting other people's words minimize your capacity to understand how incredible you are and how capable you are of making your way through these places? Right? Those are potent questions that I ask you today as I lay them on the altar. What are you going to do? These are the times, right? These are the times that we're rolling up our sleeves and we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. All the ancestral stuff is up. The generational trauma, the things that our ancestors have been passing down through our family lines for, oh my gosh, hundreds of years now, right? It is all up. It's all here for us to see. All the past lives stuff that we brought to this incarnation, because these are the times of the greatest soul growth. This period in history, it is going to be called something. How could it not be, right? If there's any books left by the time we're done, any history books about this time, wow, what are they going to say? We're on this cusp, this turning of a new way of being. There's a lot of talk, right, of how we went from Homo erectus to Homo sapien, and now we're changing to something else. In some circles, it's called Homo luminous. We'll find out what that is as we all slowly, and sometimes not so slowly, as time has become so slippery, are moving towards whatever this new future is. And it requires that we increase our awareness, our knowledge, our capacity, all the things. That we turn towards ourselves and that we don't let other people, other beings, other creations dictate for us, put words in our mouth and concepts in our head. Consciousness right now is so precious, and the sacredness of consciousness, and really, really being so mindful and paying attention to everything we think and everything we align with, because ultimately it's all consciousness, right? Positive consciousness, negative consciousness. At the end of the day, we are all consciousness having an experience. So what level of consciousness are you subscribing to? Where are you letting yourself expand? Not just as a person, but as a conscious being. I love you. Come join us over here in School for the Soul, or in the Journey, or in Soul Sphere. We got lots of places where we teach this stuff, where we are committed and devoted to the next iteration of our humanity, whatever that may be, right? Whatever that is for you. This idea we're all in it together, and let's roll up our sleeves and let's dive on in, because really this is the deliciousness and delightfulness that these times give us. And when we are resourced, when we are in community, when we are actively engaging with ourself as a soul, well, that's where the real fun begins. I'll see you inside. Mwah.